Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. I'm thankful that you're here. As always, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a tendency to say thank you 3 times. I don't know why. Amy always points it out. But my thanks today is, first of all, that you keep watching and listening. But my next thanks is for the second time this year, we have Jay Lee, a.k.a. the Sales Ninja, back with us. Jay, I'm so thankful you're here. Thanks for being back, man.
Well, thanks for having me on such notice, Gordon. Really glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to. Jay, real quick, maybe we have some folks that missed that first episode, but do you have a quick introduction, maybe let some of the listeners know who you are?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I basically grew up as an introvert and went to become a banker to becoming for over a decade, and stumbled into high-ticket sales and was able to close $1 million in 90 days part-time accidentally, and ended up launching my own sales coaching business, and have been able to go from 0 to 100K in 100 days, which has been really exciting.
Incredible. Well, in full disclosure, everyone, Jay is a coach, he's a friend, and I'm thankful he's here. And Jay is that kind of friend that I can send a message to and say, hey, we did 19,021 days, and he's going to pump me up, and then I can send him the next message and go, nothing's happened for 7 days, and then he gives me wisdom on that. So, Jay, thanks so much for being both those. I appreciate your wisdom and your patience, and really appreciate someone who's got a somewhat similar path as mine, from ministry to this kind of work. So thanks again. It means a ton.
Likewise.
I wanted to jump in. I really wanted to be wise with our time and efficient. And what I'm finding, and by the way, I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics. You've referenced that book several times, and so I'm enjoying it, taking it about 30 minutes at a time. I can't take any more data than that. It's a fantastic book. But I'm a bit of a mindset junkie after years of not really thinking or addressing mindset at all. I mean, growing up at the church, the mindset was read your Bible and pray, which are foundational for me. But the idea of mindset training, or growing your mind to think in a different way that's consistent with who you are and your identity, those were new things to me up until just a few years ago. And so I know that the opportunities I've had to spend time with you online, or whatever the case may be, you talk about mindset a lot. And so what would be the advice you would give if someone's even a bit skeptical about mindset training, maybe even think it's wrong, or don't know where to start? They're a business person, salesperson, and how would you begin to speak about mindset training to someone in that situation?
That's a really good question, Gordon. What I would say to people who are listening is, do or do not. There is no try.
Well,
Right?
today is May the 4th, by the way. That's
right. So that was perfect. I actually forgot about that until you mentioned that. I think really that a growth mindset is something that every entrepreneur, course creator, and coach needs to have. And without that mindset, people have a hard time cracking the code, breaking that 5-10K month barrier, because, growing up, they could be, people could have told them they're not going to succeed, or they're dumb, or they're not going to ever be able to make amount to, contribute to society and life. A lot of people have grown up with different things that people have said, whether they're family, friends, schoolmates, teachers, et cetera, and it keeps them stuck in a mindset that does not enable them to grow beyond what was told to them. And so I've had different people say different things to me, and different people prescribe what they think I should do. And I listen really, really well, because I'm a good listener. And that's why, sales, and that's another podcast, listen to learn and listen to sell, and serving is sales. But since we're talking about mindset, I had to basically take all those things that I learned that didn't work with me for me. They weren't congruent to my values, and it was like people almost like brainwashed or forcing me to be a certain person or a certain profession that did not resonate with me. So I basically had to, and this is like, here's a metaphor with I love stories, right? So with golf, so I love to golf, and the more that I play it, the worse I get, and I love and hate the sport at the same time. So there, because I listen a lot and I listen to a lot of different people and a lot of different things. So it's like having like 100 coaches from YouTube to people who play golf. And as I'm doing my golf swing, for those of you who understand golf, when you have like, 10 different swing thoughts or even 100, let alone more than two, it's going to mess up the game because, how do you calculate with a nanosecond or microsecond all those different thoughts into one swing? And so I ended up hiring a swing coach or a golf instructor, to the point where after a couple of sessions, he said, your swing is so bad. Your swing is so bad, I can't even work with you. Versus if the coach said, you need to, yeah, go ahead.
No, so you got fired by your golf coach?
I did. Yeah. So he didn't take me on anymore, and he didn't take my.
Oh no.
I think what would have been better is, if you can learn how to unlearn and undo everything that you've learned, and let's start with a clean slate, I would have been the best student.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think mindset is all about, letting go of the things that are not helping you grow and learning the things. We talk about this in the sales masterclasses, trading the results and the values of people that you want to become, if that makes sense.
It does. One of the thoughts that's been resonating with me is, the idea that you can't really rise above your own self-image. The concept that, your self-image is driving who you are and what you do every day. And there's one part of me that goes, that's 100% correct. Like, you're not going to succeed beyond your self-image. But then at the same time, you have opportunities to see celebrities or athletes be interviewed, and they'll speak about, and people of great, worldly success, if you will, but they'll speak about how awful they felt about themselves, or how terrible, what terrible they thought about themselves. And so I feel like there's some tension, and maybe you can help me or anyone listening resolve that. A healthy self-image about who we are is going to enable us to have a more open, joyful day. But there are people who have terrible self-images that still go on to have measures of success. What do you think about that? Maybe that possible contradiction.
That's a great point. I think, because I'm a man of faith, and the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And one thing that I forgot in loving God and loving my neighbor, which is, a very lifelong pursuit, if you will, is loving myself, believing in myself, having faith not just in God and other people, which I strive to do, but I was my own harshest critic. Like, if I was playing sports or if I was doing music, I'm super competitive. So I'm like, you idiot, why can't you do that? Or why can't you be like him? Or why couldn't you get that shot? Or, that was a terrible, swing. Or like, it's like self-sabotaging. And so I wasn't even giving myself the opportunity through self-care, self-worth, self-love to say, you know what, I am a gift and I have a voice that God has given me to be heard. But for most of my life, I felt like I didn't have that, or I couldn't do that. And it was really sabotaging any progress that I was trying to make.
When I was day-to-day pastoring, and I know that, Jay, that's your background as well, and you were people believed in Jesus just by bumping into your shadow, it appeared. But I know that I always tried to encourage everyone to not start with the brokenness of humanity, but to start with the truth that every person is born in the image of God, which means that every person is born with dignity and deserves to be loved. That goes beyond a theological expression or even a method of evangelism. It goes to creating a self-image that goes all the way to enabling us to take risks and do new things and to believe that we can achieve more than we've done. So, did you have a time like that, Jay, where, I mean, you talked about the poor self image you have of yourself and how you beat yourself. For me, it was wrestling with my identity. I'm born in the image of God and loved. For you, what was it that helped you begin that progress beyond I'm awful, I'm no good, those same thoughts you just shared? What were some of the things that helped you make that next step?
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think, because I grew up in a performance-driven culture, Korean, Canadian. I'm here in Toronto, Canada, and my parents they pushed hard. They were immigrant family. You know, they had degrees from their home country, coming to Toronto, even though they were a dairy scientist and a nurse, came to Toronto with nothing, with no friends, no family, not even speaking a lick of English. And even though they were working in their professions, one in Denmark and one in Busan, Korea, they came to Toronto and their education, their degrees, and their work experience meant nothing. So they actually had to apply to go back to school to get the degree that they already had finished years ago and learn it in a different language, different culture, while working in factories. So, you know, it's like
Right.
nothing comes easily. You need to work 10 to 100 times harder than everyone else because we are not from here and we don't understand the culture. We don't understand the language. We have to learn everything. And so that work ethic was instilled in me from a very young age. But with that, there was a dark side that said there was a lot of criticism. There was a lot of correction. And I heard someone say one time at a conference that I was at, was I don't thrive under criticism. I don't thrive under criticism. And I thought to myself, that is so true for me. Like, I know some people just will rally up and that'll bring fire to them to say, you try saying that to me. I will prove you wrong. But sometimes it can crush and devastate people. So I always say, if you can have a 3-to-1 ratio where you encourage me 3 times and then you criticize or construct ways so that I can be built up to be better, that's the ratio that I personally like. And I even tell my wife, I could use more encouragement. I could use more affirmation. I could use more affection. And, this is something we're still struggling with right now. So it's a good thing that, when you have that approach, and I think you said the Imago Dei, which is the image of God, when you come up with that theology of, you are special, you are cherished, you are loved, that goes a long way for pretty much everyone that we talk to. So I think what you're onto is very powerful, and it could be used in a very amazing way in coaching.
Well, that's a great segue. Jay, why don't you've got a new sales academy, and I'd like for you to tell myself and everyone listening and watching about it. And then how does mindset play a part of that academy that you've got right now?
Yeah, mindset. I just taught about this in the other masterclass. Is the theater of the mind. It's what do you envision the future being in the present, and how do you dress rehearse that every single day. So, for my Sales Ninja Academy, the mindset is the first and most important module. And it's literally the first lesson, if you will, because, things such as the clutter in my desk, the clutter in my house, it's, how we do one thing determines how we do everything, right? So right now, I'm not super happy with my arrangement right now because it's a bit cluttered. It's better than it was before. We did a lot of cleanup, but right now I need to listen to my own advice and declutter again because there's just so much going on. So mindset is the very first key starting point for my sales academy because that determines how I was able to close $1 million in 90 days, get 96% cash collected rates, get over 80% close rates, and so on and so forth, yada yada. But mindset is a thing that sets the trajectory of every person's business. And then from there in the Sales Ninja Academy, there's a lot of different ways on how to not just sell more to give more, which is kind of like my motto, but also to launch your program, build your course, generate leads, start a free Facebook group, monetize it, and so much more.
Well, who are you looking for when you've got the Sales Ninja Academy? Like, who's that for? Because I mean, I've got a coaching program. We've got good buddies that have a coaching program, but I'm what I know of you, I'm confident that it's got a unique focus. Who are you looking for in your academy?
Yeah, so there's three main types of people that I'm looking for. High ticket coaches that are not able to break the barrier of selling in the way that they want to. Course creators who are looking at monetizing their business, and closers, people who are in the high ticket closing space, because that's what I've been in for many, many years, but they're not able to break past, let's say a revenue barrier or a close rate percentage barrier or a cash collected barrier. So I can help them probably double their numbers in terms of close rates and cash collected rates, where in their commissions they're going to see a 2x yield, which is always a good thing. So I'm looking for high ticket coaches, course creators, and high ticket closers.
Okay. I think I shared with you a week or two ago, and I was sharing my services with a new coach. And this coach was a 9-figure closer. 9-figure closer.
Wow.
And they're out there, right? I mean, large companies, Fortune 500 company, happens all the time. And it reminded me that I need to be confident. I think you reminded me, actually, Jason, I'm going to say thank you, that I need to be confident in what I can do in the same way that they're confident in what they've done. And that it's the joining of the two that actually give them the opportunity to succeed in what they're doing. So one last question, and then I want you to remind us of the website. When was tell me a little bit about one of those very early sales closes that was it was the reach. You're like, this is a big client that I am helping to close. Do you have a story from early on that you remember?
Many. So one in particular, this was the third call with a team in the Middle East. So it was a third call because the first call, and this is my mistake, I highly recommend that you learn from my mistakes and don't make them as I did, because I wasted 3 hours of my life. So the first call was with I guess, the partner, and then he said that was an amazing call. I really like your program. And then the second call was basically, I need my CFO in the call. And then that was an amazing call. CFO said it was really good, and they says we just need the CTO, the chief technology officer. I'm like, who else needs to be in this room?
How many
Because
O's
we've done
do
this
we
three
need?
times.
Right.
Exactly. And then so they said, this is it. And what I didn't realize was I thought my video was off, but it wasn't. And I was racing between calls to calls, and I was eating this massive like chicken lunch, because I was famished.
Right.
And I was literally hands into my bowl with like drumsticks, and like, so that's what the program looks like. This is what the support looks like. It was a $50,000 deal. Right.
Right.
And I'm like, and for these Middle Eastern men, they're probably like, I had a guy that was interning, and he was on the call with me at the same time. And, I basically closed the deal. And, with Middle Eastern people, like, it's very rude to be able to
Right.
eat in front of them, use your hands, all these things. Like, and the other guy who was interning, he says, dude, did you know that your video was on? I'm like,
Oh, no.
what?
Oh no.
And I was like, are you serious? He goes, you were like chowing down and eating a buffet, dude, and you closed this massive deal with these Middle Eastern guys. Like, you got balls, bro. Sorry for the
That's
language,
awesome.
but he's like, I've never seen anyone do what you did, but that was like complete boss,
Wonderful. I love it. So, I accidentally checked something on Facebook the other day while I was on a call. Complete accident, and the whole thing went through in this sales call, and they laughed. They know me, and they're like, and then I just said, did you just see everything I did? And she was like, I did. And I'm like, I'm very sorry. She was like, it's fine. Fortunately, it was just a random thing in the back of my mind. Well,
Oh my
Jay, I
goodness.
appreciate these lightning round. Please tell everybody right now how they can get to your Sales Ninja Academy. Tell everybody how they can get to you.
Yep. So there's going to be free strategies, tips, tricks in my free Facebook group. So they can join my free Facebook group at www.gosalesninja.com/Facebook group. And actually, I'm actually launching a brand new Sales Ninja show next week, Tuesday, May the 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, Tuesday, May the 10th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be doing training twice a week. Every Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be sales training. And then Fridays, next week happens to be Friday the 13th.
Yep,
So we got May the 4th and Friday the 13th.
Love
So
it.
next Friday, we are going to be doing a Q&A hot seat. So we're going to help any coach in the hot seat get unstuck with any sales issues that they have. That's every Fridays at 1 p.m. So Tuesdays is training, Fridays is hot seat Q&As.
Well, Jay, thanks. We're going to make sure that the information to get to what you just offered is up on the screen. We're also going to put it in the show notes. And then when I share this out on socials, I'll make sure everybody knows how to get to you. I appreciate these lightning rounds. I'm always learning tons when we talk. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again sometime.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure thing, Jay. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.
How do you shorten the time it takes to buy a car? Car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.
Small business owners, you should be praised for wanting to grow your business. That's a good thing, and not everybody has the guts to do it. As a business owner myself, I know you've overcome obstacles that people don't even know about. Hi, my name is Gordon Duncan, the owner of Capitalized Marketing and Consulting, and I want you to know that if your business hasn't grown like you want it to, it's not your fault. If it's not COVID getting in the way, it's ridiculous things like changing social media algorithms. You're right in thinking that very few people are doing small businesses any favors right now. But Capitalized Marketing and Consulting is here to help. We've created a 90-day course that is guaranteed to grow the revenue of your business. It will give you the tools that you've been looking for, and as a certified coach, I would be with you along the way. If you would like to learn more about our program, just visit capitalizeyourbest.com and get started enjoying the success you deserve. Again, that's capitalizeyourbest.com, and I can't wait to celebrate all you accomplish.